everybody. Welcome to the M Network product call. I'll tell you, it is an exciting day. We've got so many awesome things that are happening. And one of those things that is just really blowing up that everyone's so excited about right now is the 8-in-1, the skincare that we have with M Network. And the results that we're seeing from this and the testimonies that are coming from this are just phenomenal. So much more than what you could ever imagine. And I've got a couple people on the line with us, and we're going to be bringing some other people in through some different ways. We've had some technology things here and there, but hopefully we'll have all those accounted for, and we'll be able to get everybody on the call. So in the meantime, right now what I want to do is I'm going to introduce Deidre Howard. For those that don't know, Deidre Howard, she is the one who was the formulator for 8-in-1. And is a powerful leader. She has been in the industry from the corporate side to the member side to the formulating side, all over in the industry most of her life. So she knows her way around this industry quite well and the products really well and what's going on. Deidre, let's go ahead and I'm going to let you take it from here for a few moments and tell us what is going on and introduce our first person that's going to be giving a testimony tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, AJ. It's so great to be on. It's great to be on with all of you today. Yes, it has been an exciting and a very, very busy day. And the first person that I'm going to bring on is a good friend of mine. It's like we just barely met, but I feel like I've known him a lot longer than I have. It's only been a couple of months. And this is Kevin. And Kevin, he is, how we met was in Vegas, and his background is actually in sales to begin with. And then he opened up his own barbershops and his own, actually, you know what? I want you to tell everybody what your shop and your tailored clothing combo, what that's all about, because it's a pretty cool idea of what he's done. And then he's brought on the 8-in-1 to use with his clientele. And I'm just going to have him share a little bit with you about how he's using it in his barbershop salons and what he's finding as he's using it with his clients. So he's on a mini holiday with his wonderful sweetheart that's going to be having their first baby here pretty soon. So we're super lucky that he stepped away for a minute so that he could speak to all of us. So I'm going to turn over to you, Kevin, and I might stop you and ask you a question, but he's really good at what he does. So it'll probably just be smooth as silk. So I'll turn it over to you, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Deidre, for having me on the call first off. And I really consider it an honor for you to even ask me to be on the call to speak to people about my experience with your wonderful product, the 8-in-1. But I will break down a little bit about my story. My name is Kevin. I currently run a couple of different barbershops and men's clothing stores. So our concept is that of a barbershop, but also a men's clothing store where there's also a bar. So the idea is that a guy has a one-stop shop for all of his grooming and clothing needs. And at the same time, get an opportunity to get a cocktail while he waits, or while he's getting fitted for a suit. So that's kind of the overall concept, and we've been in business now for about 10 years. And ran into Deidre back in Vegas just a couple months ago, and I immediately was captivated by her charming personality and her enthusiasm to help people really live a better life. And I got an opportunity to sit down and talk to her, and thereby learned about the 8-in-1 product, and immediately saw a fit for it in our barbershop and clothing store. And so we started using it just over a few weeks ago, actually, and had some amazing experiences. I serve a very diverse clientele, but what I noticed that a lot of my African-American clients, and a lot of guys in general, they use the same thing on their body as they use on their face. And over the course of the last 10 years, this education has, kind of been for these guys because it's another step, right? Guys hate to have another step in their regimen. So when I talked to Deidre and she told me about the product 8-in-1, I said, well, that's another step, because they're using their body wash for their facial wash and their facial cleanser. And she's like, well, look at the 8 different things it does in just one step. And so I'm like, okay, this is probably something that I can start to sell to my guys. But more importantly, get them on the pathway to healthier skin. And so one in particular, I had a client that I talked about right before the 8-in-1 product even came. I said, hey, right when it comes in, I'm going to get this product in your hand because I was looking at the skin. It was very oily. It didn't look very hydrated. There are some blackheads and things that have kind of overgrown on the skin. I think, Deidre, you might have pulled up the picture that I sent you for this testimonial, so it can be real to those who are viewing.
Sure.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up here in just a second. So keep talking. You're doing great.
Okay, great. So this gentleman, like I said, had been using just his regular bar of soap that he uses for his body scrub, and wasn't using any facial moisturizer, any facial cleanser. So just one application. I kind of broke it down into more of an experience. Some people might use it a little differently than what I did just because, this is a service that I'm providing at the barbershop. But I broke it down with, first off, starting with a hot towel because I wanted to kind of moisturize this, or get his face prepared for the 8-in-1 so it can really soak it in and receive all of the attributes of the product. And so I put a very warm towel in his face first. The actual picture that you'll see when Deidre pulls it up, that is actually right after the hot towel. And usually when I put a hot towel on anyone's skin who's never been treated with any special products, the hot towel alone will give them somewhat of a facelift because of the steam. There's also essential oil that I use in the hot towel, the eucalyptus. So when I put the hot towel on his face first, and then I just kind of wipe off the excess oil that was on his skin was noticeably better just after the hot towel. So I'm like, man, at that point, with the 8-in-1, I'm like, man, I'm wondering what that liquid Velcro is going to do for his actual skin, because I noticed a difference after the hot towel. So if you look at the hot towel picture, and then after using the 8-in-1, so the hot towel, then I put the 8-in-1 on his face, and I lathered it all the way across his face, and I gave it an opportunity to actually dry. I think that's a really important step. I even use the product for myself now after seeing the results of my clients. So I use it every morning and every evening. And what I learned in the process of application, that it's important to actually put the product on your face and give it a couple minutes to dry. That's when you're going to get the best result. And the reason I say that, because you actually need to give it time to dry on your face a little bit so that that liquid Velcro has an opportunity to cling to the outer surface of your skin. And as you kind of start to rub in circular motion across your face, you'll notice, just as I noticed on my client, Leonard, his face, that little layer of that dead skin starts to literally peel off right before your eyes. This product is really powerful that way because I think a lot of guys and my clientele that I serve, they want immediate results. There's a lot of business owners, a lot of working class guys, a lot of executives, they're used to high power results. And I wanted a product that actually would show the client that right away so they actually believed it, because there's so many products that you can find online or find on infomercials and things like that don't necessarily, show those products or show those results. And sometimes you may look at them skeptical and say, okay, now what was, how long of treatment did that actually take for that person to see the desired result they were looking for? And so with Leonard right away, with the skin who is really virgin skin, had never been treated of any, really good facial cleanser, right away saw a result. And he got up. You even notice a difference in his countenance. When I shared her with Deidre, she said the same thing. Like, he's even smiling now. He was really happy with the results. You literally see a result. All that was a hot towel, and then the 8-in-1 applied, 2 minutes to really let it soak in, circular motions, so that liquid Velcro actually cling onto the skin, and then I use a hot towel to remove the excess of the 8-in-1 at the end of the service. It took me about 5 minutes to complete the whole thing, but it took about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years off of his life if you can look at the actual side-by-side photos.
Are you guys able to see those well enough?
We're seeing his after pic, but I think it'd be good for us to go back and forth and let's see the before and after also.
Okay, the before, I can see the before, but you guys aren't able to see the before.
Nope.
Okay, can you see the before now?
Nope, not yet.
That is strange. Okay, let me see. I'll minimize. I'm going to stop sharing and then go back to share. How does that sound?
All right.
Does anybody have any questions? Or Dr. T, is there anything that you wanted to share or ask Kevin while we have him here before we can get him back to his sweetheart?
What I think I would say, Kevin, is that part of the immediate effect that people notice is a brightness. The brightness comes from removing the residue of the soap, because as the oils from the day begin to come up, they are meant to actually make the skin slippery and smooth, and they have many different functions, including antimicrobial functions. But nice skin is soft, moist, and it doesn't squeak. And so many men have been taught that you scrub yourself everywhere with soap until your skin is squeaky clean. But squeaky skin is not healthy skin. And so when you do that with the soap, you leave a residue on the surface that gradually over the day starts to ride up on the oils that are secreted from the skin, and you do not get any shininess at all. But normal skin that is healthy is shiny. And what you see after you remove the residue with the actual desquamation, as you say, the liquid Velcro, what you see are the natural oils of the skin that are deep within the skin and that the skin secretes on a daily basis. And you've got it, and it makes your skin shiny, actually looks brighter, reflects light. And that is an aspect that women appreciate because they like bright skin, but men don't think of things as being bright unless they're bald. And then, of course, they're trying to dampen down the actual shininess of their pate. But other than that, they don't appreciate cleanliness and shininess that exists on healthy skin. And that's what you see coming back to the fore after you remove the excess amount of the product. Now, that's the after, right? Deidre?
Yes, that's the after. Can you see the after now?
Now, if you look at his forehead from the before,
Yeah, I'm so glad.
When you look at his forehead compared to the before, just a few minutes before, you'll see a striking difference in the smooth aspect of the skin. Very, very striking. I don't know whether you can put it back so that we can see that, but it was what struck me the most when I first saw these pictures.
I will.
I'm sorry, Deidre, can you have the doctor say what struck him the most again?
Yeah,
I want to hear that.
he wanted to hear what you said. What struck the most when you first saw the pictures, doctor?
Well, first of all, the residue from using soap on your skin wrinkles the skin. It actually puckers it and pulls it up because it is a film which is drying. As you remove that, you allow the oils, the natural oils of the skin, to come to the surface. And when you look at his forehead particularly, you will see that in the before, it was almost a granular quality to the skin, whereas after it is smoother and it is shinier.
This is the before picture. I just put the before picture back up.
Yeah, now look at the forehead. Look at, as you see the creases in his forehead, look at the texture of the skin.
Yeah, you can see the creases in his forehead before.
Yeah. Now, then go back to the after, and you'll see that those creases have diminished, and the area between them is extremely smooth compared to even a few minutes before, because you've desquamated all of the soap residue. Look at this. It's almost shinier, smoother, and look at the creases, and you can see that something has been cleaned away from there, and now the skin almost looks deeper. It looks like it's softer, and by texture and touch, it is in a matter of moments.
Everything about the skin, it looks like it's just all of a sudden the whole complexion comes into one thing. I mean, he looks younger here. He looks just, everything's smoothed out so much more. Big difference.
And in this picture, he looks super happy. I got to show you the last picture because it's just so handsome. I can't stand it. We got to show this one. Look how handsome he looks. After he's all finished and he's got his beard nice and trimmed because Kevin's got skills. Are you guys able to see that?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and even having a little bit more time, he put a hot towel on his face afterwards also, and being that the product has hyaluronic acid in it and also glycerin, those are both humectants, and they're going to pull the moisture in the wet warm towel that he put on his face before and after, right? He prepped the skin and then he used it, and then after also, that's going to draw in even more of that moisture into the skin, which is going to give it a nice plump, and it's going to affect fine lines and wrinkles and enlarged pores, and it's just overall glow that it'll give the skin.
Well, that brightness that you will see, in my mind, comes considerably from the MPT in the coconut oil, in the virgin coconut.
Yeah, in the coconut oil too, absolutely, and also in the mangosteen nano water. So we just have a lot of good stuff going on at one time, and it's quick, and it's simple, and it's immediate. And I guess in this time, a time and an age of the world, not just for men but also for women, that's sure what we want. We want it fast, and we want it now. So
let's go ahead and go to our next
yeah,
testimony.
thank you, Kevin, for coming on. Sure appreciate it.
Kevin, thanks.
Evening.
We sure will.
Yes, thank you, Kevin, very, very much. So the changes that we're seeing in what's happening with people, people are seeing results right away with this. And Dr. Templeman, we've got one of the things that's a real key ingredient in this is mangosteen that is actually being applied externally and going in through almost like a Trojan horse type of a thing. Explain that.
Well, first of all, mangosteen, if you take a look at some of the most expensive lines of cosmetics that women pay up to $250 to $300 for a tube of material, you will see that there's not a single house out there that is not producing mangosteen as a major ingredient in some of these, the most exclusive and expensive lines that they have. And the reason for that is that it is, without a doubt, the most powerful anti-inflammatory in the plant kingdom. And with the preparation that Deidre has put into her product, those particles are so small that in the experiments that were done, they passed through cadaver skin. Now, if you can imagine, the skin on a dead person is certainly not going to be as dynamic in terms of allowing things in and out as it would be in a living individual. But even in cadaver skin, those particles that were nano-sized penetrated down through the outer surface of the skin to the layer of the dermis. Now, the dermis is where all of the blood vessels that supply the skin are located. So it went passively down a gradient of diffusion into the deepest levels of the skin. And that's what happens when you have particles that are so small that they literally fall through the pores of the skin to the deepest level. So that's the effect of mangosteen. But I wanted to say something else in case we don't get Noel's pictures up. I've known Noel for a long time.
And I do have Noel on so he can hear us now. So whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, I just want to tell you that when you see Noel's pictures, in terms of skin, Noel's an old guy like me. And by the time you've been on the earth for as long as we have, in a place where there's a lot of sun, which was the case for Noel, you probably had some skin cancers removed, and I saw scars on Noel's face that were the obvious sources of excisional biopsies for basal cell carcinoma. And so he's had the worst that the sun can possibly do. His face, before it got touched with 8N1, was like a World War I battlefield. Things had blown up there on Noel's face. And when you see older gentlemen who are Caucasian particularly, you will notice that there are broken blood vessels in their nose and in the malar eminence of the skin, because they are producing testosterone, and there is an enzyme that increases with age that breaks testosterone down into estrogen. Inside every molecule of testosterone is a molecule of estrogen. But if you lop off this final chemical group, you have estrogen, and estrogen is a vasodilator. So you get men breasts, you'll get gentlemen who are older. They do not produce testosterone that is not broken down into estrogen, and so they end up picking up a lot of weight around their middle. They end up forming breast tissue, and they also have in their skin a ruddiness that comes from skin blood vessels that are brought to the surface and which rupture and remain red. That is not true rosacea, but it is similar to rosacea, and it is precancerous as a condition. So anything that you can do to retard this change in aging skin is remarkable. And I listened to his story, and his story is classic for people who have been exposed to more sun than their skin wants and who have suffered the damage from it and who are anxious to get back to a healthier state.
My face in particular, when we look at some of those photos, and one in particular where I've had enormous fight with skin cancer over the last so many years. And one of those was actually right up in very close to the eye. That one there, as you can see on the left, that was a skin graft to take a skin cancer from there. We have a look down underneath that, which is hard to see on that photo, but right on the jawline, just in from my ear, that was 2 surgeries to get rid of that. If nothing else from this call, if I can preach the message that if anybody has anything on their skin that doesn't heal, get it checked out, because most times it's not nice. And I'm actually off to my surgeon in 25 minutes. I have an appointment with him, but I'm very pleased to be able to say what he will say is that, what have you done to your skin? It has changed dramatically. And
what does he usually say, Noel?
Well, he usually checks my body from head to toe. I take off all my clothes, etc. He does my whole body. Very, very thorough. But the interesting part also, the 8-in-1 is actually the icing on the cake. But the other major part of the cake also is that my skin had started to improve when I started on the sticks, because since I've been on the sticks, I haven't had any more surgery. Very, very interesting from my perspective, because
inner and outer beauty.
The previous years, every year I was getting 2 or 3 done, and my second son is going through that phase right now, and he's in his 40s. And as you can see, you know, my face now is just getting better and better, and people who haven't seen me for a while, everyone makes comments of how well I'm looking and how younger I'm looking, and that's a bit hard to take after a while. Feels absolutely fantastic. But
When I first started
you, Deidre, and who else helped you along the way with this, it's just what I call a world-class product for what it's done for me, and I know it'll do so much for so many other people too.
Well, I was very impressed, not only because Noel is a great guy to meet, like Dr. Templeman said, but as he first started using the product and I saw the difference so quickly, it took me by surprise, honestly, because this particular type of skin hasn't, always been the clientele, right? And so to see the difference so quickly, and even the uniqueness of how Noel uses the product. And
Correct.
so, you know, you can't really mess it up. I want you guys to know that. You can't mess up this product because you're going to get good stuff no matter how you use it. But Noel, will you share with everybody how you use the 8-in-1?
Well, I don't stick to the rules. I'm a bit slack, if you want to call that, but it's my last thing that I do when I leave the bathroom of a morning. I don't even wash it off or anything of that nature, whatever you want to describe it, with a towel or that nature. I put it on, walk away, and one of the first things I noticed, Deirdre, as I've said to you, was within a couple of days shaving was just such a breeze because the face is so soft. And instead of ploughing across the face like I used to do, the razor just glides. And that's a portable shaver. I do have an electric one as well, but I don't prefer to use that, mainly because it doesn't work as well as the others anyway. But yes, and the other thing which going back some 30 odd years, I was actually forced off farming with dermatitis. And in that, I had dermatitis right up to my elbows, where I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be scratching and I'd be bleeding, and that forced me to finish farming. That has been with me for nearly all that time, not so much there, but on my hands. And since I've started using the 8-in-1 on my hands, wacko, clean as a bell. Another major, claim that for me, not for the product, but just what I claim, what it's doing for me, and that's paramount from where I come from.
He doesn't follow the rules. Like he said, he doesn't follow the rules. So he puts it on like a moisturizer. He doesn't wash it off. He doesn't exfoliate. He just puts it on like a lotion, and off he goes to the day. And so we talk a lot about the importance of that exfoliation, which I love the exfoliation part of it. But Dr. T, maybe you can speak to this a little bit, if you don't mind. And you've found this with other people, and so have I. They just like to put it on and leave it and not go through that exfoliation step or anything, and they're still seeing great results. Why might that be?
Well, the problem is not that you're not exfoliating. The fact is that what you're doing is putting things which will penetrate through the skin and will retain moisture actually more effectively, in my opinion, if you don't remove it. And when you're a man, you might be able to perform the exfoliation exercise right after you shave, but don't think you're going to be able to do it before you go to bed at night, because enough stubble has come up that it is an uncomfortable and impractical way to use it in the evening. So by leaving it on, you're not hurting the skin in any way. I would encourage you to actually possibly use it as a cleanser with a little bit of just ordinary water. You will remove the surface that would be exfoliated if you did it in the evening, and simply put it on for the evening, because it is during the night in your third phase of sleep. Could give a pitch here for the sleep preparation, that you actually repair the underlying surface.
Right. Our face, I like to say our face has their biggest meal in the middle of the night. So give it something to eat. And that's why you don't, at nighttime, if you have areas that you specifically want to target and you just put the product on and you let it just be, it can be a spot treatment. It can be a nighttime serum for your skin. This is the thing that's the blessing and the curse with the 8-in-1, is that there's so much doggone good stuff you can do with it that it's sometimes when people say, so what's the best way for me to use it? Well, different people, different ways. The point of the matter is, as soon as you put it on your face, that nano water is going to almost immediately absorb, like Dr. T talked about, and you're going to start improving your skin immediately. But if you can put it on and leave it on without even exfoliating at least once a week, or twice a week. And at nighttime, that'd be awesome as a nighttime mask. So just really enjoy it and learn how your face responds to it, because we're all a little different, aren't we, Dr. T?
Yeah, Deidre, if you're over the age of 48, 49, take a look at the skin on your elbows. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The skin on your elbows becomes the area of greatest redundancy, and it starts to, about age 40, become not tight or clever, and it just is full of wrinkles and extraordinarily dry. Using this on your elbows, and I'd suggest use it on one elbow and leave the other one alone, and watch what happens. After simply 5 days of using it, you will see a striking difference in the texture of your elbow skin. You won't notice it, but the people behind the bike in the gym will notice your elbows.
So I think what we're saying is that this is a product that is so much more than just a lady's face cream. Obviously, this is something that you can use in so many different ways. And guys, we're showing some guys here, as far as major differences it's making in improving the skin. You talk about, the elbows, places. If you got a place in your body, I mean, Deidre, Dr. T, this is something that doesn't have to be just used with the face, correct?
No. The back of the hands for aging people, ears for aging people, the back of the neck for aging people, the front of the neck where you develop these wattles, that all needs help because it no longer works the same way. Look at this picture of a skin and the dryness and the thickness of the skin in that area. If you were to moisturize that and keep it moist, even the mechanical pressures which lead to the buildup of thicker skin would be overcome with the moisturizing aspect of it, and it would become so easy to desquamate that with a slight file compared to trying working on it right there, which would be like working on a piece of wood.
Yeah.
Well, let me show you the after. So you guys got to see the before?
Mm-hmm.
You ready for the after?
Wow.
Now that's amazing. And there's no way that just with an ordinary pumice or anything that you were using to desquamate, because you need a mechanical desquamation with the skin on the feet. But there's no way you would achieve that if you hadn't softened the skin and prepared it for the desquamation with the cream. And then maintaining the cream on this, you will not have the dryness or the building up of those excess layers of skin that the body is trying to use to protect itself against pressure. When it's soft, you don't need to protect it against pressure.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to have to go here. We're running out of time. I want to real quick see if I can take everyone to this and let you see the Facebook 8-in-1 site. If you have not been on the Facebook 8-in-1 site yet, then you have got to go on because the pictures, the things that you will see are incredible, and it's not going to let me show everything, but this is the 8-in-1. I'm on the correct one there, right, Deidre?
Well, yes, you're on. So we have two different sites. The one that he's showing right now, this is the public site that anyone and everyone can send to somebody that's not a part of M already. And so this is, and please, anyone and everyone that's listening far and wide, if you have a testimonial, please come and share it on this Facebook public page that says, it's got the girl that says, wow. And you know that you're at the public site if it's got that girl on it. We also have a private group where we get deeper into the nitty gritty, how to take it into salons and spas and share it with people like Kevin that we heard today. And we can talk a little bit more in specific. That is a group. So to be able to get into that group, then you would go to 8-in-1 group, and then you're able to be accepted. Dave, Webb, and I are on there, and we'll accept you as soon as you ask. You can also add people to that if, of course, they want to be added and be accepted. And there's probably 20, 30 times as much information. Also information sheets, frequently asked questions, every one of the ingredients and why those ingredients were chosen. All that kind of stuff is on the group private page. So just make sure that you're familiar with both of those, that you're participating in both those, that you're sending people to that public page so they can see the wow. Those pictures that you saw today of the before and after feet, I've got about 5 of the before and 5 of the after. Those are going to go on the public page right after we get done today. And then also that of Noel, and we'll be adding to that constantly. So just please get familiar with those and use them. I don't want you to miss out on the resources that are there for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again so much, Dr. Tippelman. Thank you, Deidre. A lot of great information on the 8-in-1. Go to the Facebook site, go see the pictures. You're going to be amazed. And remember, this is so much more than a face thing. This is something that you can use on your whole body. If you've got problem spots, go there and you're going to see the difference. Thank you again so much.